Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Poking a bear is not a good thing, but poking a bear with someone else's stick from very far away, probably the bear will attack only the stick. This is what the Brits are hoping. The Brits have been poking the Russian bear with other people, other countries, which are the sticks. With Ukraine, with Estonia, Baltic states, Poland, Romania, they were poking at Russia. And when the bear is going to turn around and hit, they hope that they're going to hit only the poles the Brits were poking the bear with. Well, if the pole is short enough, the bear might realize that the Hydra is right at the end of the pole, maneuvering it, handling it. And the Russians know very well who is behind all this in Ukraine. All this garbage, mind you. So what happened? We have here two issues. One, the United Kingdom intercepts Russian jets who violated NATO airspace. Remember, NATO airspace. We don't have countries anymore. Why? Because it's the Brits flying from Poland into the Baltic Sea, protecting NATO airspace. But you will never hear a Polish fighter jet protecting the British airspace. Never. Why? Because we are in charge of you. That's the first topic. The second one, Estonia. I'm going to show you Estonia. Estonia is one of the three Baltic states. Actually, as population, and I think even as territory, is the smallest one. And it pokes the bear without a stick, with a finger, with a little claw, with a hoof. Cup, the hoof. That's what it does. And the bear will smack them real hard. And I'm going to show you what they did. The big, great, fantastic country of Estonia seized a Russian tanker a while ago. They got warned by the Russians when they removed Soviet monuments from Estonia. I will explain that one. And when Estonia wanted to deport Estonian citizens that might have Russian citizenship, or they might take Russian citizenship. That is Kaja Kallas, the current foreign minister of Europe. So this piece of infantility, Kaja Kallas, was the prime minister or foreign minister. Let me get you right about it. So Kaja Kallas, she was the prime minister of Estonia. Estonia's population, do you know what Estonia is? Do you know Estonia's population? Well, she, from a country of about, if I remember correctly, I'm going to look, 1.2 million people, was catapulted from a prime minister, a lousy one, into the foreign minister, or in charge of the diplomacy of the European Union. About 450 million people. Do you understand what that is? It's like, let's say I'm in charge of 3 baboons, and all of a sudden I'm in charge of, 5 billion baboons. My authority increased tremendously, doesn't it? What cock did she suck? I wonder. I'm just kidding. She probably did a lot of things. All right, let's start with the first one. Here. UK jets, fighter jets, intercept Russian aircraft in NATO airspace. Remember, why NATO? Is NATO a country? What is it? Twice in 2 days, the Telegraph. Or because the Russians are actually trying to provoke. Or the UK fighters, do you think they want to provoke something? This is a prediction. If the mighty typhoons will release one missile directed towards one Russian aircraft, they will be toast. And they know it. That's why they're just like, it's not because they know they're at the end of a sticking pole, a big stick, and a long stick, not big, long and teeny, pop over there. That's it. They're over there, and they know if the bear decides to take them, they're gonna fuck them up. That's the word. All right, let's see what's going on here. You don't think so? Why don't you do it, homie? Why didn't you do it yet? Or you can say, well, why didn't the Russians do it already? I think the Russians are more, how should I put it? More mature than the Brits. The Brits act like really baboons left outside on their own. They need a little smack. Royal Air Force, ooh, rough. We're Spitfires now. Fighter jets were scrambled twice. Oh my God, so these are offenders, you know, it's not the first time. In less than 48 hours to protect NATO airspace from Russian aircraft. So the Brits protect, where did they take off from? You're gonna find out. From Poland, my friends. This week, British Typhoon fighter jets were deployed on 2 occasions after Russian aircraft approached NATO borders, triggering an alert. The interceptions will be used by the UK government as further evidence of the growing Russian threat in an effort to persuade the United States not to scale back its military presence in Europe. You got it? You can make something big out of nothing if you want. So what happened? This is the first instance of a rough involvement under Operation Chessman. Okay, you want to play chess with the Russians? A new NATO mission aimed at strengthening Europe's air defense. You see, NATO mission, but it's the Brits. So let's see where they started from. You see that word over there? That's called Poland. So on Tuesday, 15th of April, 2 Typhoon fighters stationed at the Malbork Air Base in Poland. So the Brits are stationed in Poland to protect Poland, but Poland is not, Polish airplanes are not located or stationed in Great Britain to protect NATO in there. No. We were scrambled to intercept a Russian reconnaissance aircraft over the Baltic Sea. Where is that located? Right there. You see Baltic Sea? Right here. So this is the Baltic Sea. This is, you see that? That's called Kaliningrad. This is Russia. This is also Russia. And let me show you where Great Britain is. United Kingdom, right here. Now, where is Poland? Right here. So these guys came from here, stationed from here to here, from here. They went over the Baltic Sea to protect NATO territory. Well, this reconnaissance was in the international airspace, wasn't it? So you are making something to seem more dangerous. Why? Because you have an agenda. All right, that's the first baboon. They didn't dare to do anything, obviously. Russian Shadow Fleet tanker detained in Estonia with helicopter support. Estonia, okay, decided that is their land. Now, where is Estonia? Here is Estonia. You see, this is the smallest of the Baltic states. Total population, just so you know, you have to know this. It is 6.1 million people. So Russia should just, but why would you do that? Maybe you send them to Great Britain, all these guys, and then you repopulate. I don't know, maybe they have this already in their plan. So this is Baltic states. It's not Lithuania's, Estonia's sea. So these guys are, what? They seized the tanker. The investigation into the tanker is not related to any suspected threat to critical infrastructure. The purpose of the vessel's detention is to verify its documents and legal status. You got it? So the little Estonians are going with their finger, hoof. Why, I wonder? Why is Estonia so tough? I mean, pretends this stuff. All right, let's go further. Let's see what the Russians are saying about this. Russia can smack them real bad. This is according to Reuters. Russia says Estonia's seizure of a Russian-bound oil tanker poses risk to Baltic shipping and security. That means we're gonna smack the out of you. That is right here. This is St. Petersburg. Probably this is right here, Kaliningrad. It was seized here in the Gulf of Finland, which is right here. This is where it was. Now let's see what Zakharova has to say. Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said on Thursday that Estonia's detention last week of a Russian-bound oil tanker was a provocative action that poses risks to the shipping and security in the Baltic states. That means we want to f*** you up. All right, that's what it is. So let's go to the next one. Estonia begins removing Soviet-era war monuments. This is from 2022, 16th of August, the day Elvis died. So 2022, these guys were at it since then. Why? Because they didn't like the Soviets beating the Germans. So are you Nazis or something? Why would you remove the Soviets monument? The Soviets liberated you from the Germans, and then they took over. Why did they take over? Because the free world that now you suck their dick, they gave you to the Soviets. That's why. That's why the Baltic states ended up in the Soviet Union, because the lovers of the freedom and democracy, America, Great Britain, who has now airplanes deployed probably in your country as well, decided that you go and stay with Stalin and with Kaganovich and with Beria and with many other, with Trotsky and all those guys. Trotsky was not there anymore, but I mentioned him as a token, okay? Just so you know who was in charge. None of the guys I mentioned is Russian. None. One is Georgian, the other guys are, you know what they are, and so on. So you destroy these monuments. Why? Remember, Soviet Union was formed of Ukrainians as well. So people who died over there in Estonia were probably some Ukrainians, probably some Moldovans or Bessarabians, probably some guys from Kazakhstan, probably some from who knows where, Russians. So how imbecilic are you to do this? Why do you do this? Again, the hoof at work. That's exactly how Estonia, and Estonia knows. I'm going to go and show you this imbecile again, who's now, as I said, the foreign minister of the European Union. 400 million people, 450. Here, there she is. Jesus Christ. A lot of things came through that. And I'm not talking about food. Estonia's prime minister aims to deport residents who take Russian citizenship. In a situation where a person obtaining Russian citizenship is a clear signal of support of terrorism or the actions of the Russian Federation against Estonia and our allies, it is undoubtedly necessary to consider the suitability of this person to live in a democratic and human rights respecting country. Ha ha! You are respecting country and democracy? Let me tell you what these guys did. Remember, I think right after the Estonia became independent from the Soviet Union, after it was given as a slave to Soviet Union by the free world, democracy, she's telling us about that. I think they did not allow the Russian-speaking population over there, genetically Russian population living in Estonia, I'm going to show you the percentage, to vote. Because they would have voted about 20% Russian, and they would be probably the biggest party in Estonia. And they didn't allow them infringement of their voting rights. You don't know that? Well, if I remember correctly, maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, please forgive me. All right, next one. Right here, RBC Ukraine. Estonia seeks mechanism for deporting those accepting Russian citizenship. Again, the same baboon. But she talks about freedom and free world and democracy. I mean, there are countries who allowed dual citizenship 3 times. I mean, look in America. How many people have Israeli and US citizenship? Lots of them. Why? So, why not Russian? Well, they allow Russian as well. Not legally, but whatever they allow. So this is the free Estonia. Let me show you what Estonia is. Let's go. This is the end of this video. Estonia. Estonia is this mini more country over there. And this is what I want to show you. Ethnic groups. You see that? 22% Russians. 22%. And what are you going to do with these guys? 20%. So that's one. And then total population is what? Let's go. 1.4, my bad. 1,373,101 Estonians live in Estonia. Russia has 145 million about, plus nuclear weapons, plus everything they want to you up. So see, and the Brits are going to push these baboons. Go. And the bear with the hoof. And then you say the Russians are imperialists. I mean, you can make of a, how do you call it, regular routine flight over the Baltic Sea of any plane. You can make it a threat. Remember, those were not in the NATO territory. Now that's NATO. There's no... Why? Because it was a foreign airplane intervening from a base. Poland is up under occupation, the same as Romania. The same are if you have foreign troops on your country, inside of your country deployed to protect you from the boogeyman they tell you is your boogeyman, and you do not have any troops in the respective country that has deployed in you, you are under occupation. You don't like, it's like, oh, he's going to bring troops in my house, but I'm not going to bring troops I can't in his house. What does that tell you? They're doing me a favor. in the same time, they fan the fire. Oh, there's the boogeyman, and you're in between. You're the buffer. You're the long, thin, skinny freaking pole these guys are using. And they're playing with fire. I don't know. And then they promote Kaja Kallas. What did she do? I tell you what she did. She sucked a lot of it, and she said a lot of garbage, and she did the right thing. Wasn't that right thing for some interest that promoted her? She was not elected. How in the hell you get this kind of promotion? Isn't it unheard of? Did she invent something? Did she broke some, I don't know, how? From 1.4 million people, from a prime minister is not foreign minister, but hey, foreign minister, we have the imbecile Annalena Baerbock of German, infantile, doesn't know anything about diplomacy, and she's the German is the foreign minister. Another person taken from here and put over there, and you're like, why? And then you expect us to believe in meritocracy? Do you want me to teach my children meritocracy, or be a fucking weasel schemer and backstabber and cut the legs of everybody? Which one? Look at this example. And not only that, look at Scholz. I can show you, look at America. If you want the elected officials, we have Biden, we have Kamala Harris. And many, look how they talk. Look at Liz Truss in Great Britain. Look at Sunak. Look at Starmer. Look at Macron. Macron, I think, is sneaky. But still, I mean, look at the Western leaders through democracy. What kind of people are those? And you tell me about teaching my children democracy and telling them that democracy works and it's the greatest form of elected officials going to represent you. No. If I do this, I'm just going to create some domestic economic current slaves. That's are going to be our children. They're going to be listening to the authority, fake authority, right? Legal authority, that's what, legal authority with a wrong idea. Oh, if Mikey punches in the face, don't fuck him up. Go and tell the teachers, teacher, excuse me. And the teacher is friends with Mike's dad or fucks Mike's dad. And then justice, the kid is going to be like, what happened? Why Mikey did not get punished? Because the teacher, she fucks Mikey's dad. That's why. So you believe it? Or instead of saying, no, I'm not going to go to the teacher next time. I'm going to fuck Mikey up right here. And then there's justice. And then I'm going to get in trouble. Why? Because I didn't tell the authority. That's what happens in the American schools. No, don't, this is not your justice. Go and tell the authorities. And then over there are all the strings. I know you, you know me, and that's it. Justice dispense. No. Gigi, Mikey, whatever you are, bam, 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 and then we're talking. The problem is not going to come and say, hey, wait a second, what happened? Well, he punched me and I came up. Why did you react? This is what they teach you in school in America. Why did you react? You should go to the authority, tell the authority, and authority through courts will figure things out. No thanks, right now, boom, boom. Anyway, thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. God damn it.